What up, Stamp Gang? This is Sade of Sade No Days Off. Welcome back to the channel. It's a little bit noisy, but we are in Bali. And they are building another villa next to ours,
which we're probably staying next year.
Yes, but it's Couch Conversation Sunday, and what better place to do a couch conversation than in Bali? And I have my dear sister friend, Kia.
Hello.
And she can be found on Instagram at
Kia the Pyro.
Yes. So
Pyro spelled Pyro.
We'll put that down right here so you all can take a gander. So we both have been like going through a lot of growing pains when it comes to adulting.
Lord, because we know I don't know about the adulting, and they let me care for people's children.
Same. But you know, I think it's important to kind of talk about like the realities of adulthood, because especially when you're in your 20s, you have some very serious sort of assumptions about what it's going to be like.
Expectations of yourself.
Right. And I think when you get to where we are, we realize that, you know, life doesn't happen like that.
And this is what I have for you. So,
and that's kind of the awesome thing about like hitting your 30s is you're like, well, I got nothing.
I'm grown. You don't pay no bills.
So this is what we got. What was it like turning 30 for you?
The day I turned 30 on October 20th, I had the biggest breakdown and panic attack of my adult life. And it was either on my birthday or like the day after my birthday, because nothing had gone the way I wanted it to go. I wanted to be out of the country. All of the places that I was trying to go got hit by hurricanes because Mother Nature didn't really like my 30th birthday this year. I don't know. And then it like just hit me. And it wasn't a long panic attack. It wasn't like a long breakdown. Like I was in the car.
Was that, I think we were doing something that day, because I feel like you might have called me because you had a,
I think I did.
You were in traffic and we were trying to go somewhere.
We were trying to go somewhere and it was falling apart yet again. Because it was going to be something cute and local, but it was like all falling apart. And then, but after like that initial push, so like I have just had to come to grips with the fact that one, this is life. And if you're not paying my bills, then
no room. She's closed.
And I don't have anything for you. I can only do the best that I can do.
Yeah.
And the things that are within my control are within them.
That's such a hard lesson to learn. Like I feel like every day I am working through that lesson, because Key and I both high achievers. Like we are super productive and try to be super productive. Thanks for keeping me honest. But we also, like, we're control freaks. We like to know when we're going, why we're going, how we gonna get there, around what time we gonna try to get there. Like, we want to know details, and life just isn't like that.
And it tends, for me and you, because I've seen it happen, it tends that we are very hard on ourselves.
Yeah.
And so we lose all the things that we've done. So
what has been, because we've talked about a lot of little lessons that we've learned through the process of like turning the corner. And we turn the corner a lot of times. It's not just like for us for hitting 30, but we've turned the corner probably 3 or 4 times in, you know, the last 12 years. So from about 18 to 30, we've turned the corner at least 3 times. I can remember it at 21, I can remember it at 24, and then around 27, 28, turned the corner again.
Yeah.
So what have been some of the lessons that have really stuck with you, as like that are really starting to sink in at 30?
Embrace failure.
Ooh, that is a good one.
And I am just learning how to do that.
That's a hard one.
I'm just learning how to do that. And it is because my psychiatrist asked me, she was like, what's wrong with failure? The only difference between a success and a person who has succeeded and a person who is deemed a failure is that the person who succeeded has failed more.
Ooh.
And at which point,
come through mental health professionals.
I was in a blubbering mess on her couch at that point. I was like, freak what?
That was like,
I was like, what do you mean?
my goodness.
But that actually made me go back and start thinking about the first time I felt the bar was like my downward spiral. And I had to like step back and think, if it wasn't for that, then I wouldn't have gone on the journey that I've gone on.
That's true.
I would not have touched the lives that I've touched. I have like amazing stories of kids from CPS. I have amazing stories from my kiddos who still bother me.
Word.
And
it prepares you for when you do pass the bar. Because I think with things like the bar and the GRE, and for me it was comps, like all of those things are just things you check off. And I think without certain experiences that go with it, you take that for granted. You're like, oh, I checked it off. Time to get a job doing X, Y, Z. But when you do fail at it, or you do struggle with things a lot more, it makes you appreciate the process. And it also distills out of you more than you knew that was there. I know you all probably know, and if you don't, you're new to my channel, my grandmother died the day before I defended my comprehensive exams. My grandmother had been sick only for a few months before passing away, but during my exams, well, she was sick during all the time I was taking my exams. My partner's father died. My partner's godfather died. I got sick during my fourth exam, like vomiting for an hour. And
all the while we're like, Sade, can they reschedule?
And they couldn't. They literally couldn't, because my exams had to be taken by the end of my fourth year, and it was April. April of my fourth year. So I had to do it, and I'm like pushing myself through all of this like insurmountable amounts of pressure and stress. And I walked into my comps and looked at my committee, and they were like, how are you doing? And I was just like, my grandmother died yesterday afternoon. Good morning. And they looked at me really crazy, like, why are you even here? And I looked at them even crazier, like, why are you looking at me like this? Like, I don't have to be sitting here right now. Why?
Everyone was looking at her crazy, like, what? Sade?
And then I went home, because this is right before my birthday. Like, I decided to stay and celebrate my birthday with my friends to try to capture a little bit of joy in that time. But I was preparing my grandmother's funeral with my mom from Texas, handling paperwork, and putting a eulogy together because I eulogized my grandmother. And then the whole drama behind my church being, vastly misogynistic and not allowing women in the pulpit. So, like, all of these things happened at one time.
Oh, I still remember that group. I was livid.
Yeah, so was my mom. And I was just like, you know what? It's going to be whatever.
It is 2017 at this point. What do you mean I'm preaching on the floor?
If at all. If at all. But say that to say, and like I've been grieving. Like, I don't know, and I've told you all before, the grief process is not short by any means. And Kia knows this because Kia's grandmother died a few months before my grandmother died.
After your grandmother died.
No, I think it was before. It was
after.
Okay.
Yeah, it was after. It was
by January.
Mm-hmm.
By January. Yeah. I remember now.
And
so we both have lost very important people in our lives. And, some days are harder than others. Like, there are days that I just break into tears and like literally feel the gaping emptiness inside and all that. But, through all of that, those things have helped to cultivate me as a person. They've shown me that there is a lot more within me than I think there is. Because, when you get pushed, you really find out what you're made of. So I think adulting sucks. Say that, like, we'll be real clear about that.
I never asked for this stuff. Let me just be on camera clear. I was never the child that told my mother.
I wasn't grown.
I can't wait to grow up. I can't wait to be grown. No, my sister's 15 years older than me, and all I wanted to be was a teenager because I wanted to be like her. That's it.
Yeah, I never wanted to be an adult. But, you know, you don't have to have it figured out. And I've said this before. One, by the time you get to your mid to late 20s, you don't have to have it figured out. One. Two, don't go at it alone. Lean on somebody. You know that you have to find at least one person that can keep you accountable. Lean on that person. Let them lean on you, because it makes it easier.
Then be your safe space. You need to create this safe space for yourself.
Yeah. And, you know, I love, have you seen the Leslie Jones SNL skit where she's talking about, you know, people starting late and failing and things like that? But I had to show it to you. But, you know, I've been going back to that so much lately because, you know, there were so many people that got started later in life. Like, Toni Morrison didn't start writing novels till her 40s or 50s. What? And she is a Pulitzer winner. She's run the Nobel Peace Prize. Bitch, what? Like, Vera Wang didn't design her first dress till she was 40. Right.
I didn't know that.
Yes. Vera Wang, girl. And I think she was saying, like, Harrison Ford was a carpenter at 30.
I know Harrison Ford was a carpenter. I know that Oprah
she got fired in her 20s.
Yeah.
Like, society makes it seem like we have to have it figured out and start ticking off these boxes. But you really don't. Like, there are a lot of my friends who are married, getting married, having kids, and I'm out here Peter Panning. Like, I'm a lost boy in my heart.
It depends on, like, who you are as a person. Because some people, like, that is who they are.
Yeah.
And that's how they're going to get the experience that they need. But I feel like, and my mom didn't have me until she was 37. So I got at 10.
Right. I do too. Like, I'm fully preparing to be an older mother, and that's okay, because then I can be more intentional about being a mom, preparing myself, being somewhat financially prepared for a small human, because small humans are a lot. We both got God kids, and that's enough at this point. And we're teachers.
That's enough. I got God kids, and at this point,
nieces and nephews. It's okay. Like, it is okay to not have it figured out. It is okay to say, you know, I'm gonna take a break, or I'm not going to do college, or whatever the case.
I need help.
Or, you know, if you are in school, if you want to restart school, if you're getting started later, it's fine. Our society conditions us to be defined by our productivity. And that's in relationships, that's in career, that's in education, that's in everything. And to me, it seems to dehumanize us, because we just become what we produce.
Yeah. Yes, most definitely.
And I struggle with that definitely in my program, because sometimes it feels like all that anybody wants to know is, can I do it? No matter what's going on, will you do it, or are you going to break down?
That is, I feel that a lot in education. It's like, can you get the STAR scores? Can you get this number? Can you be on this rubric? Can this amount of your kids achieve?
Yeah.
Like,
so it takes a lot, and it takes a lot of strength to step back and say, you know, this is not in my best interest. Like, I have to take steps back so that I can care for myself, so that I can do these things. Or I have to make decisions based on where I am, and that's cool. Or I'm learning these things, and that's cool. Like, there's room, and I'm not just talking about YouTube here, but like just in life, there is room. And my preaching mentor, one of my preaching mentors, he used to always say, your gifts will make room for you. And a lot of times we don't necessarily know the extent of our gifts until we're put in situations where we're just like, I didn't see that coming. And then you realize that you really have a knack for the thing that you're in. And you have to do it with your own flair.
I always think, because again, social media processes. If Rihanna would have said everybody is doing a makeup line, I started makeup lines too late.
That's true.
We wouldn't, and like Fenty is huge.
And the thing is, you can always find a niche within the niche. And I talked about that with like things I wish I'd known about YouTube, is that you have to have a niche for your niche. Like, it's not enough to just be like, oh, I'm gonna be a beauty blogger, and then you're just trying all this stuff, doing all these things. But you have to have an area of expertise. You have to develop an area of expertise. So like Rihanna starting Fenty, it was not just another makeup line, but she saw a gap that had not been addressed, and she was really intentional about addressing it. And now everybody's trying to address that gap because they've seen how vastly profitable it is. But there's always room. The world is so vast, so big, so rapidly changing. And just like when we were watching on Project Runway, Heidi always says, one day you're in, the next day you're out. So you just gotta be in your moment and know that if your moment has not come, that it will come.
It's coming.
Yeah,
it's coming.
You just have to trust the process and know that there is no right or wrong way to adulting. You just do the best you can.
Watch Mulan and watch the part where she has failed at the matchmaker, and her dad sits and points out this cherry blossom that hasn't bloomed yet.
Freaking love Mulan.
And he says, it's like, this one's late, but when it blooms, it is going to be the most gorgeous of them all. And if you notice at the end, like after the war and all of this, he picks that now bloomed cherry blossom.
Beautiful and big and yes, watch Mulan. Alright guys, I hope you've enjoyed this, that it encourages you that we 30, we still don't know what the hell we're doing.
But I do know you don't pay my bills, so as long as the person who pays my bills is happy,
then that's all that matters. At the end of the day, you want to make yourself happy. You want to take care of yourself because you only have one self. So do everything possible you can to take care of yourself, and trust the process. Trust the process. The process sucks. Let's not be mistaken. The process sucks. But if you trust it, everything will pan out, and you'll look back and you'll be like, wow, okay. Everything fell into place like it should have. It didn't seem so at the time, but it does. It's just like with the coloring. So we've been doing color therapy every day. So you might start out with one color. I know I do. I color by my feelings. I start out with one color and pick one shape and color all of that. Do all of that first, then pick another color, and that's how I color. And when you first start, you're like, I don't know if this is gonna work. This might be some trash. And then as you continue to progress through it, if you stick with it, the whole picture comes into view. And then you finish and you're just like, oh, that was nice. That was nice. That's what the process is. You start and you're progressing and it doesn't look like anything. But then if you keep at it and you keep trying at it, you keep plucking away at it, at some point the picture becomes more clear until the picture is done. And then you look back and you're like, oh, okay. That's what trusting the process looks like. As always, friends, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, tell a friend about the channel. Be my friend. Be Kia's friend. And we'll see you in the next one. Bye.